Good night. Welcome to Teleislas News, the most relevant and important information of the day. ANATO celebrates its 26th National Congress of Travel Agencies and Tourism, aimed at industry entrepreneurs under the theme, The Challenge of the New Tourism. During the event, President Petro referred to the tourism model of the archipelago.
In the city of Bogota, the 26th National Congress of Travels, Agencies and Tourism organized by ANATO was held. This is the most important academic meeting of this sector in the country, and the President of the Republic, Gustavo Petro, during the opening speech at the event, invited business sector to build responsible tourism together with the communities, as well as precise that in Providence that ethnocide was recorded by not including the vision of the communities with their territory.
El territorio es negro. Si el territorio...
If the territory is black, if the territory is Wayu, and there is the beauty of how to make a pact with the community to allow tourism development, how the Americans were smart enough not to produce an ethnocide in Hawaii, but achieved to position the society of Hawaii as a powerful force. In Providence, there was an ethnocide. In San Andres, there was already an ethnocide. The new tourism that we call ecotourism is not based on ethnocide. On the contrary, it is based on living culture, living natural beauty, clean energy in the hotel, clean mobility, trees everywhere. What ecotourism takes care of the most is the culture on which it is based. Examples like San Andres cannot be. Now we have to take care of Providence.
The 26th National Congress of Travel Agencies and Tourism attended on behalf of the islands the Governor Everett Hawkins, Susan Saad, President of ANATO, Brent San Andres, and his Executive Director, Natalie Livingston. It is noteworthy that by 2023, the archipelago will be guest of honor in the Tourism Showcase of ANATO.
The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Tourism highlighted that this portfolio will promote sustainable and inclusive tourism with the country's ethnic territories, which would benefit the archipelago.
Minister Umaña Mendoza stated that his portfolio will promote an inclusive model for the sector that will help reduce inequality, calling for the integration of all actors in the chain to work with emphasis on territories with less than 200,000 inhabitants, such as the Archipelago Department.
Colombia requires a tourism sector that is based on environmental protection, on the green and circular economy. We want this to be a development project with sustainability and equity, in which we work to close the existing gaps through a tourism with vocation and social responsibility, and that at the same time is competitive and productive.
The minister emphasized that his administration will promote the strengthening of green and sustainable tourism based on the protection of natural resources, the use of biodiversity, and the ethnic richness of Colombia, a fundamental purpose to strengthen the territories and their communities. It is expected that the initiative of the head of the tourism portfolio will directly benefit the islands, taking into account that the Seaflower Biosphere Reserve should be protected through efforts to promote such action. It would also benefit the tourism sector and, in turn, the island's economy, being its main source of income.
A man who murdered a minor in San Andres Island was sentenced to 42 years in prison. The facts occurred on August 9, 2021.
Today, the prosecutor's office announced the decision made by a judge who sentenced Shorben Nicolas Santana Peña to 42 years in prison for his co-perpetration in the crimes of homicide with aggravated punitive circumstances in concurrence with attempted homicide and illegal possession of a firearm. The investigation facts occurred on August 9, 2021 in the Clift neighborhood.
Luego de avalar un preacuerdo.
After a preliminary agreement with the prosecutor of the Life Unit of San Andres Islands and the defendant's defense, a judge sentenced Shorben Nicolas Santana Peña to 42 years in prison for the murder of a minor. The facts occurred in the Cliff neighborhood on August 9 of 2021 when the convicted person shot from a motorcycle at Guillermo Olier Gonzalez, who was in the company of his stepson. In the attack, the 12-year-old minor died while his stepfather recovered from the wound in a health care center.
For these same events, Davis Javier Sepulveda Bennett, who was the person driving the motorcycle on the day of the homicide, is also deprived of his liberty. The prosecutor is waiting for the indictment hearing against him.
And today, the forum, The Future of the Archipelago, Sustainability and Tourism, was held today as part of the Ruta País project to propose possible solutions and work together in search of the common good of the islands.
New challenges and a new roadmap to continue contributing to the development of our archipelago was the central theme of a forum held today on the island by the Chamber of Commerce and the University of El Rosario. The rector of this university gave his balance of this day.
We are very happy to be here today in the archipelago. What we are doing is holding a meeting with all the actors of the archipelago in order to build a teaching, research, and extension agenda that will benefit all the inhabitants of the archipelago, but especially the young people who are in the process of forging a new dream for our country.
The agenda of this route integrates problems of our department such as mobility, insecurity, lack of visibility of culture, and education.
What we have noticed without a doubt is that there are many challenges for the archipelago, from security, improving development to make it sustainable, mobility, among many others. But the interesting thing is that we are, among all, building the agenda that we are going to develop thanks to the generosity of the inhabitants of the archipelago, so that we can make it possible and deliver concrete results in the short term.
During the forum, different actors of our department intervened, such as the departmental government and entities such as the Chamber of Commerce and the Archipelago Foundation, who gave their contribution and made note that action should be taken to improve the quality of life of all the inhabitants and visitors of our island.
The departmental authorities found a series of irregular constructions in Hines Key and Rose Key after they carried out a surprise inspection operation.
The Environmental Corporation Coralina, Coast Guard, and DEMAR, together with the Secretariats of Tourism, Government, and Public Utilities and Environment, made a visit to Haynes Key and Rose Key after they received complaints about illegal constructions that were being carried out in the area.
They are advancing certain activities of adequacy of a kiosk, and on the other side they were making a retaining wall for protection of the work. What we actually found was the construction of a retaining wall and the adaptation of a kiosk that already existed. These activities cannot be carried out without proper permit, and as there was no permit from any of the competent authorities, we proceeded as a corporation to lift an immediate suspension measure of the activity, and in the same measure, we made the seizure of a material already in concrete mixed with coral sand. We acted because the sand is part of the strategic ecosystems, and our duty is to protect those ecosystems.
The Environmental Corporation Coralina indicated that in addition to stopping the work, due processes are being carried out to impose sanctions on those responsible for these acts that could be classified as environmental crimes.
Today, it was announced that 19 research projects were approved in the second call of the ONDAS program in San Andres and Old Providence.
The Departmental Committee of the ONDAS program of the archipelago, in an extraordinary session this week, approved the 19 researches program submitted by students and teachers of educational institutions in Providence under the second call. In Providence, 13 research projects were presented with the participation of 248 students from the Junín, Bombona, and Boyacá educational institutions, while in San Andres, 6 groups were presented with 94 students in total from the Industrial Technician, Urban Headquarters, Sueños Alegres, Sagrada Familia, and First Baptist School.
El programa Ondas del Archipelago.
With great pleasure from the ONDAS program, we want to tell you that after an extraordinary session, 19 research projects were approved with emphasis on the students of Old Providence, which were 13 projects between the Junín institution and its Boyacá and Bombona headquarters.
With the second call, the conformation of the Yeti search groups in San Andres will be completed. However, next Friday, August 26, is scheduled the publication of the final result.
And in order to prevent the presence of cavities in the teeth of children on the island, the Ministry of Health will advance an oral health campaign.
The Ministry of Health throughout this strategy, I Am Smiling Generation, will carry out in the department a new campaign of fluoride banish application aimed at the island community.
La cual consiste en educar
which consists of educating fathers, mothers, and caregivers of children under 18 years of age about oral health care. And it allows us to work on the application of fluoride varnish, which helps protect the teeth and thus prevent tooth decay. The application of fluoride varnish will be on the 26th and 27th, Friday and Saturday. Friday, it will be from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., while Saturday will be a half-day session. The sites where this application will take place will be, if the affiliates are with Nueva EPS, they can go to the Departmental Social State Enterprise or to the health post on the hill. But if they are with Sanitas, they will have to go to the 4th floor of the Anira building in Credident.
The campaign will be held from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon in the post provided by different IPS, which the initiative in National Departmental Government seeks to reduce and prevent tooth decay in children and adolescents in the department.
And now we continue with sport news with Victor Fosalva.
Hello, here are the best sports of the islands. Ireland's baseball player Derwin Premier expressed his happiness to be playing here in the Summer League at home. Seeking to renew the island baseball, the Colombian Baseball Federation and the Departmental League have invited several professional baseball players to participate in the summer baseball tournament. One of those special guests is the baseball player Derwin Bombacho Premier, who is playing with the Centro team led by coach Ricardo Kyok Davis.
Well, you really feel good, excited to play against your people, your fanatic, your people come and see you play. You don't know the outside, they play a different culture, different people. Well, like how people know in Italy, they play different language. You practically go and go play only because you can't introduce yourself to nobody good. But it's a big privilege for me if you then got me in the tournament right here. Because you know, say, with me here, plenty of young boys them can learn little while, you know, and that's the idea. They want a great opportunity God give me, and well, thank and praise the Lord that keep up in my sport. And I see the result, well, up there, different culture, different people. Well, I don't know, say, when you go like reforce, you have to go do what you have to do. Up there you go, and you play 1 innings or 2-3 games, but and that's your same time stuff, and you get from the further, you have to focus on what you want. Well, when I don't play the tournament right here, I'm going professional, and then call me for the pre-selection for the classic. So we start at the 26th. So just depend on that to see if anything come on, I can make it with the the Lord.
A tournament that has been improving its level and also taking advantage of the experience of the professional players who teach other Islander young baseball players. The Ocean Man in San Andres was difficult, but even fun, though competitions a lot. One of the experienced participants of this great event was Michael Villar, who lived this new experience and shared with us.
It is quite a fun race because the section is set up in a space where each turn dictates a different panorama. As you go through the race, you will find different things. We swam very close to the barrier, so there will be swell. It was a little rough, and when we went down, the swell was sideways. When we went up to the buoy, each section represented a different stretch. That was the fun of the competition. A work that I have been doing for a year, accompanying athletes from different regions of the country and outside the country in their processes towards the most important competitions. Then in the days prior to this race, I was doing the same exercise and now with the very good results. Expectations continue to grow in terms of my participation to demonstrate that with what is being taught and demonstrated, if it is applied, it will work and give results. Interesting surprises are coming, and I will be offering entertaining sports and recreational services to tourists and residents alike. I hope you will support me with lots of love.
Swimming is one of the most complete and complementary sports for the practice of other sports. And in San Andres, there is a lot of potential for it, said the great champion Michael Villar. And tonight, our national Colombian basketball team will be playing against Mexico. We are hoping to see another history with our great player Michael Jackson. This in sports for tonight. We will see you on another broadcast. We continue with Lisa.
Thank you, Victor. And with sport news, we reach to the end of our broadcast. See you tomorrow at 1 p.m. with more of Teleislas News. Good night.